Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament Seattle Regionals here at Climate Pledge Arena. This is the practice day press conferences for our teams that will be playing in the regional final tomorrow. Joining us on the dais from Iowa's head coach Lisa Bluder. Coach, if you want to make an opening statement, go ahead, and then we will open it up to questions.
Well, obviously, glad to still be working. I mean, this is it's really exciting for our team. We know we have a really tough challenge. Jeff is a great coach. Louisville has got, a storied program. Another great defensive team, and I don't think you can talk about Louisville, without talking about Haley Van Lith, all ACC player. She and Caitlin played together in the USA basketball, and so they know each other pretty well, which is kind of fun. I think Robinson, excellent defensive player. Crislin Carr's kind of a local player. She's from Rock Island, Illinois, so really only about an hour and 15 minutes from our campus. She's shooting the three ball really well, and so great team, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
All right, we'll open it up to questions. Raise your hand, and Kelly or Bess will bring a microphone to you. We'll start with Doug up front.
Morning, Coach. Doug Feinberg, the AP. You talked the other day about how it'd be great if Des Moines or Iowa hosted a regional down the road. The crowd last night was amazing, I think, for any women's basketball game, but again, for being 1,500 miles, I think, from Iowa. Just how's it been for you guys as far as this regional and everything on the outside besides the basketball, and then also what it was like having that amazing crowd last night and probably again tomorrow night?
Yeah, the Hawk fans are special. I mean, there's a personal attachment between this team and the fans, I believe. Because when you get to know them, you really love this team. They're great role models. They're great human beings, and you want to support them. You want to support people like that. And, people coming all the way out here, that's really special. It means a lot because it's hard. It's not easy to get here. When we played in Minneapolis in the Big Ten tournament, we had 9,000 fans there. Well, that's a 5-hour drive. But, this is a lot tougher to get here. So it's a commitment. So it means a lot for us. It's special. And yes, we didn't think we were going to have that many fans here. So when it got loud last night a couple times for us. And it helps us. We appreciate it a lot.
Alexa.
Morning. Alexa Philp with ESPN. Just as you started to scout Louisville and dive into film, is there any team that you've played so far this season or in recent history that will be helpful as you guys can prepare for them? Anything that kind of is similar to other teams that you face either in the Big Ten or even non-conference play?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about them in the Big Ten, I think of Maryland possibly. Really good defensive team, good rebounding team, press a lot. So I think of that maybe. But I think Louisville has their own identity. I think they're again, a really good defensive team. Haley really makes that show run. She's a pretty impressive leader on the floor.
Up front.
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. Hi, Lisa. With such a tight turnaround, like how late are you up last night? I mean, what's kind of your schedule like trying to prep for a team that you've not faced before?
Yeah, we had our scout done before the game, and so we had a scout done on both teams, so it did make it a lot easier. I had not watched film ahead of time on either team yet, and so last night, my staff took me through the team and through the film. We were only up till about midnight last night. I think sometimes you can, rob Peter to play Paul, so to speak, with the sleep thing. So today we'll spend a lot more time watching film, and we'll spend a lot more time with the team watching film today. We didn't watch any film with the team last night. We just sent them the scout and sent them some film that they could watch if they woke up earlier.
Hey, Ben Fickman from The Athletic. Building off that question, like you came back out to watch the Louisville Ole Miss game, from the baseline, I think it was. Like when you're watching that game, like kind of how are you consuming it? Are you both trying to relax coming off the game you had? Are you trying to, pick up details about offensive and defensive sets? Like how are you watching it?
More for just an eye test, for their personnel, their style, their, how physical they are, that type of thing, how fast they are, because sometimes you can't tell those things on film as much as seeing them live. But I wasn't trying to pick up sets or anything like that because my staff was doing that. They were in the scouting seats. Sometimes after a game, it's hard for me to focus. I'm not a very good scouter immediately after a game because I'm kind of thinking about that last game. And I think I missed the whole first half anyway, but just kind of an eye test more than anything.
I've got Jerry first, and then to Tim, then I'll come over here.
Coach Jerry Brewer from the Washington Post. I'm wondering if you could give us a little history lesson on your tradition of point guards, and how do you coach them? You know, beyond talent, like how hard are you on them? How important to your offensive system, you know, is it to have that kind of point guard play?
Yeah, I mean, I think point guards, in high school, your best players are usually point guards. I mean, right? So sometimes we've had 3 point guards on the floor at the same time that were in high school. I think it makes it harder for you to be pressed. I think it makes it, you know, you have that leadership ability out there when you have more than one typical point guard. This year, we're not like that as much as we have been in the past. In the past, we've had several point guards on the floor at the same time. I think we've had some good ones. I mean, you go back to Kashina Alexander, who played for us, who's drafted by the Lynx. You know, I mean, Kerrigan Swager, Christy Smith, Sam Logic was a first-round draft pick in the WNBA. Of course, Kathleen Doyle, who was the Big Ten Player of the Year, and now having Caitlin, who I think is the most spectacular player in America right now. I mean, we've had great ones, and I've been very blessed with that. Jenny Fitzgerald used to be our point guard coach. She kind of retired from the recruiting aspect and does a lot of our scouting for us now and helps me out a lot. And now Abby Stamp is our point guard specific coach. But I mean, it's a crucial position, obviously, because they're your captain on the floor, they're your quarterback coach on the floor. So you have to have a special relationship. That's what I think is when you're recruiting point guards, it's just a different relationship than you have with other players because you spend so much time with them. You spend, you know, you have to have kind of like Caitlin and I can look at each other and almost know what we're thinking. We trust each other a lot. And so I think that you have to build that relationship in the recruiting process. That you have to have that connection with your point guards.
Tim.
Hey, Lisa, Tim Booth from the AP. This is the 5th straight year Louisville's reached this point of the tournament. From afar, how have you seen Jeff kind of build this program to where it is now? And is there a tangible benefit that they have going into tomorrow, having that experience of getting to this point of the tournament so many times in a row?
Yeah, I mean, I think that experience is a great teacher. And so definitely I think that experience that they've had is on their side. You know, when each game you play, a little bit more pressure mounts, right? And I think when you've been there a lot, you know how to handle that a little better. So I think that's, you know, to their advantage. I don't think Jeff he's almost been successful since the moment he got there. I mean, he has done a great job with his program right from the get-go. I mean, he's recruited well. He's obviously a very gifted coach. He's coached USA basketball. I mean, and besides that, he's a good guy. This summer, I don't know if you're aware of what happened with one of our recruits. She was in Louisville and was hit by a car and was in the hospital there for over a month. And I reached out to Jeff, and Jeff provided a car for the family to use at no expense, and it was immediate. It was like not even a thought. It was something he wanted to do for that family, and so I just think he's a really good guy. You know, that speaks volumes about a person when they're helping you when you're in need like that.
I'm going to go to the Zoom room first, and then I'll go to you. Susan Harmon, go ahead.
Susan Harmon, hawkfanatic.com. Coach, can you describe Louisville's defense and what kinds of things you're going to need to do to get some open shots?
Well, I mean, they really have great denial defense, great ball pressure. But beyond that, what is, I think, one of the best things is the variety of presses that they have. It's not just one press, but it's a variety of different presses that they can throw at you. So, you know, you have to change up your attack based on what they're doing a little bit on that press situation. So I think that's what makes it hard.
Good.
Coach Blake Hornstein, Hawkeye headquarters. You guys are led by an experienced group of players who have done this before, been to NCAA tournaments, won Big Ten championships. How has the experience of this team allowed you guys to, push through adversity and maybe the emotional maturity that comes with that leadership?
Yeah, I do think that, we are a pretty experienced team right now. We've played together for a long time. Again, it goes back to that experience as a good teacher, and it also lets you build culture. When you spend this much time together, it helps you build relationships. That's one thing, I think is not great about the portal, right? People are hopping around. It doesn't give you time to build relationships with each other, with your school, with your coaches. We have that, and sometimes that culture and that, I've got your back can help a lot in situations that are pressure-filled.
Coach Matthew Walter with the next. Sort of jumping off that and Tim's question, you guys have a lot of experience, but this is only player on your team that was on your Elite Eight team maybe 3 or 4 years ago was Monica.
Mm-hmm.
How do the other players sort of step up to the bright lights in the Elite Eight in a situation where you're trying to get back to the Final Four for the first time in a really long time?
I think we have to approach it like every other game. And I think if you start approaching it like we have to win this game, to reach our goals or to get into the Final Four, it just adds more pressure to the mix. It's, we've used the mantra, just be us a lot. Be us, be who we are, and don't worry about other stuff. And I just think we have to minimize other stuff, whether that's stuff like this, like you guys, it really is just kind of keeping it normal and not having the pressure. That's what I think is pressure can really create some abnormal behavior, and we don't want that.
Coach Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. You talked about your time on the baseline after the game, and you talked about the eye test. What did the eye test consist of? You talked about, are they physical? Are they fast? What did your eyes show you?
Yeah, I've always known about Haley just from, watching her over the years and with USA basketball. I've, always known about Crislin, obviously, because she's so close. I was really impressed with Robinson and her speed. I did not know that she was that fast. I would not have thought that from watching her on film or just seeing her statistics, for example. I think Cochran is very physical inside. Again, we're going to have to play that post that's very physical and that rebounds really, really well. So it was good. It's good to get that eye test, I think.
Alexa?
Alexa Philpoot, ESPN. This is a little bit unrelated, but now that you've been here in Seattle for a few days, just with the both regionals being here, how have you felt it from a logistical standpoint? Has it been pretty smooth with 8 teams here at one point, and have you gone, practice time, and has it felt like it's gone just pretty smoothly from that standpoint as they experiment with this setup?
I think it has. I really haven't noticed much difference other than, the practice time only being an hour on the court was pretty short, and so you kind of have to find another place to practice in addition, which, you have to drive then and get out of your bus, and so it takes a little bit more time. The only thing I wish is that you could have an hour and a half. That would make a big difference on the court. An hour and a half versus an hour would really let you probably practice in one place instead of having 2 places to practice. That's been my only issue. Otherwise, I think it's been great. I think the people of Seattle have been super. The team has enjoyed the city and seen that, so it's been good. But I just wish we could have a little more practice time, which I know they probably can't happen.
Hey, Lisa, Chad Leistikow, Des Moines Register again. Up in Minneapolis, you spoke to the Big Ten needing to get somebody to the Final Four. I know that's something you're talking about. Can you revisit that now that you're one step away and just the importance of getting a Big Ten team to the Final Four?
Yeah, what's the Maryland score? I'm looking at Megan. Megan, what's the Maryland score right now?
It was a 1-point game at halftime on the road now.
Yeah, so we have a couple of Big Ten teams playing today. So I wouldn't hear myself saying this, but go Tarps and go Buckeyes. It's hard for me to say that, but yes, we want them there.
Doug in front.
Lisa, Doug Feinberg again. Along the lines of the eye test and the regionals being the same place, have you guys or will you guys have some of your assistants scout the games today, knowing you might see one of those teams in the Final Four versus in the past you'd maybe watch them on TV, but it's not the same?
Something, we're really looking at the other bracket. So we'll be really watching TV to see the other side and not this side so much. We've looked at, you try to figure out who's going to advance. And so, Virginia Tech being here, right? No. Yes, yes, I'm sorry. That would be one that we would probably want to do an eye test on, but that's it.
Time for one last quick question. If we don't have any, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Just so you guys know, we may be a few minutes delayed on the Iowa student athletes, so bear with us. Right with us now in the press conference for University of Iowa, student athletes Caitlin Clark, McKenna Warnock, and Monica Cisnano. We'll go ahead and we will open the room for questions. Remind those of you on Zoom, use the raise hand function, and we'll get to you as we can. So we'll open the room for questions at this time. Doug, you're first.
Doug Feinberg, the AP. Caitlin, I know you and Coach Wallace have a relationship from your time at USA Basketball, and everyone probably doesn't know the story, but can you revisit the one from when you, I think the finals game when he had you go and shoot the free throws and the history of, I think he told you that morning, like, if something happens, you're going to do it?
Oh, yeah, I honestly forgot about that until you brought it up. But, man, what was it, 3 years ago now when I was playing for Team USA, and I was the youngest one on the team. The first time I played U19 team, it was the World Cup. We were in Thailand at the time. And we were playing Australia, which the U19 World Cup is like one of the hardest, junior national team events to win, just because you're playing against a lot of girls that are, play professional basketball usually, and we're playing with college girls. So I remember he came up to me before the game when we were warming up. He's like, if we get in a situation where I got to put somebody in off the bench to shoot free throws, I'm picking you. And I was like, okay, like, whatever, like, that's not going to happen. And I think, Ryan Howard got busted in the face pretty good, and her nose was pretty messed up, gushing blood. And we were down at the time, and then I had to go in. They called an intentional foul, and I made 1 for 2. And then I stayed in the game, and he drew up a play, and Haley Van Lith made a bucket to, tie it and send it to overtime, and we ended up winning gold. So it was pretty incredible, and honestly, we probably should have lost the game and won silver, but yeah, he kind of predicted what was going to happen, so it was a pretty cool moment.
Matthew Walter with the next 2 questions. First, Caitlin and Monica, and I'm sorry if you've been asked this before, but there's a lot of, when I watch your guys' games on TV, the fans with the law of Clark and Cesano. Do you guys know where that shirt came from? Is that something that you guys created or just fans made those?
No, Chrissy Winter Scott actually came up with the idea and the law firm thing, and it really just stuck. The Clark and Cesano, it kind of just sounds good together. But yeah, Hawk fans really just ate it up, so it kind of took off from there. But yeah, all the credit goes to Chrissy Winter Scott for that.
And then secondly, Monica, you're the only one on this team who was on the Elite 8 team. You were a freshman way back in 2019. Just what experience did you learn from that, and what are you trying to give to your teammates going into tomorrow's game from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like a different lifetime ago playing on that team, but I think a lot of it is just it's such a cool moment, making sure you're staying in the moment. It's easy to kind of view this as a vacation, but I don't think anybody on our team is doing that at all. But just it's a business trip, and we have more we want to prove. Quite honestly, that team was so different from this team. It's hard to even compare them, but just taking each game as it comes and just enjoying the moment with your team.
Alexa, go ahead.
Alexa Philpott, ESPN. I guess any of you can answer this, but Coach was saying that from her perspective, it's important for you guys all to approach the game tomorrow just like any other game and not let the pressure kind of get to you. So how have you just navigated pressure and expectations throughout the season, but also going into a stage like tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think this entire season we've done a great job of just staying true to ourselves. We know that we didn't have to be anyone else yesterday, and we know that going forward. And I think that all the amazing experiences that we've had and all the battles we've had through the Big Ten and throughout the season has just prepared us so much for this postseason, and that's just kind of what keeps our confidence. So.
Tim?
Tim Booth from the AP. Caitlin, you've obviously played with Haley in USA Basketball. How would you describe her game on the court and what she does for a team?
Yeah, I think she's somebody that plays with a ton of energy and passion, and that's what I admire most. I'm somebody that plays with that same level of passion and energy and excitement, and she's feisty. I think that's what I love about her. Really good mid-range jump shot, really good attacking the rim. But I think more than anything, she's just an emotional leader for them. They're never going to be out of it no matter what the score is, or, I think she really puts the team on her back and really carries a big load. And, I've played the point guard spot with her on USA Basketball. We were roommates for a while on part of the trip, so I know her pretty well. A great person, but also a really good basketball player. So I'm excited to go up against her and go against Coach Walls, who is also my coach. So I know him really well, and it'll be a fun game.
Coach talked about Hawkeye Nation traveling real well to Seattle. It was a great crowd, a very pro-Iowa crowd last night. Maybe, McKenna, you can start. Talk about how the crowd fed you guys, especially in those later moments when they really got animated for some of the bigger plays coming down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Hawkeye fans truly are the best in the nation. I think that it's kind of shown through, our home crowd, and then also coming all the way out here to Seattle. I mean, that's not an easy flight. Kind of a Carver West type situation out here, which is awesome to have. But, they really just feed into our energy, and I think that that's something that helps so much down the stretch. They love those big plays, and they love to watch Caitlin, they love to watch Monica, they love to watch our team, and it's really awesome to have them in this experience.
Alexa first.
Alexa Philpott, ESPN. Again, any of you can answer this, but I know you're still going and looking at film and scouting Louisville, but what stands out about that team that just makes them, so tough and able to get to the Elite Eight?
I think, they're a very good defensive team. They're going to come in here and D up. Obviously Haley's kind of their engine and what makes them go, but also, they have good post players and then super well coached. They have the tradition of being in the Final Four. Jeff's had them there quite a few times. I think this is their 5th straight Elite Eight appearance, so it's not anything that they're strangers of. But I think at the same time, maybe this group hasn't been to the Final Four or the Elite Eight for us, but we've had the opportunity to play with each other for 3 years, so it's not anything we're going to shy away from. We've been in plenty of big games, but I think that's the biggest thing about them. They have experience being in this situation. They're really well coached.
Matthew Walter with the Next. Outside of what Louisville does, what do you guys need to focus on just from an internal Iowa standpoint to be the victors tomorrow? What are the sort of the things that trying to push out the noise and really say these are the things that as Iowa players we need to focus on that are sort of keys for the game?
I mean, I think just sticking true to our fundamentals, playing Iowa basketball, not taking super quick shots, really making them work in their defense, but playing good defense ourselves. Like, they're a really quick, explosive offensive team. So just making sure we stick true to our fundamentals and, like McKenna said, not be anything different than we have been all season.
Doug?
Doug Feinberg, the AP. Caitlin, it feels like this is an AAU tournament in a sense, or the two regions and different things. And I know you guys are focused on the game you had yesterday and the game tomorrow, but have you paid attention to the other bracket at all? I know you're not in the same hotels. Do you see them around? Is there any feel this? Because it's the first time they're doing this with 8 teams in one place. So how do you feel about this setup?
Yeah, I think I like it. Obviously it's not close to the state of Iowa, but I still feel like we have really good support here. And, we get to play in a city that loves women's basketball. And I think at the same time, we really love getting to play the first day rather than the second day because, we won and we're moving on. And you get to watch all the other teams play. And I think a lot of us just love watching women's basketball. So we always have the TV on. We were just watching the Maryland Notre Dame game. So, I think it's fun. I think it's cool. Obviously, we're not going to be coming to all the games today. That's just not really, how it works. Obviously, we have a game ourselves that we have to prepare for. But I think I like the, 2 regional sites. I mean, I don't really know too much different, I guess, because I played in the bubble and then, one time last year and now this. So it's been different for me every year. But I think it's been good. I thought the turnout was really good yesterday. But yeah, I think, we love getting to watch other teams. We love getting to watch women's basketball. So it's been fun.
Any other questions? Up front.
Matthew Walter with the Next. Monica, for you, you came back for your 5th year, probably for games like this one tomorrow, just to get your team back to the Elite Eight. It's something you haven't done since your freshman year and that no one else on your team has done. How much does that mean to you, and how much do you have extra motivation because you decided to come back and play in this last year for a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, this opportunity right here was a huge reason of why I came back, but an even bigger one was just to play basketball with these girls and our coaching staff. It truly is a family. We don't just say that. So the opportunity to still be a part of it for another year was one that it would have been silly to turn down, honestly. So it's super big. We're just happy to still be playing basketball. We want to be around each other and doing what we love for as long as we can. So the opportunity to come out here and compete every single day is something that we don't take for granted.
Alexa
Philippou, ESPN. When you all were talking yesterday about like at halftime, just kind of needing to collect yourselves and figure out what you had to do moving forward to erase that deficit, is that something that is player led when you all kind of figure out where to move forward? Is that coach led? Is that a little bit of both? How do you all kind of, I guess, move forward or come together in those moments?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, but I think we just have so much maturity on the team and so much experience that we're kind of able to understand when we need those moments just to collect and take a deep breath. And I think yesterday that's all we really needed, and we needed to just get back down to our roots and just kind of know that we don't have to be anything different going into that second half. And I think we did a great job right out of that.
Any other questions? Caitlin, McKenna, Monica, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck tomorrow.